the first thing we want to talk about with Steve is Kanye.
Kanye West.
we got to get into
Kanye.
this. We got to get into this. So if you don't know, yesterday, which was Saturday, Kanye West was on an episode of Joe Rogan. It's probably kind of cliche to talk about because everybody's going to talk about it, but I also can't not talk about it.
Right, it's something that has to be.
So Justin saw it. Justin saw the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched the whole thing.
So Justin saw the whole thing. I know you said you watched
half of it.
About half of it.
More.
Baker hasn't seen any of it.
I saw nothing.
He read a review about it.
Holy
and,
shit.
2 seconds before.
Yeah, like I read the review and
yeah, and then
it's like, oh shit, we're talking about Kanye.
Right. Yeah, and then I watched the whole thing over at Steve's, and I guess I just want to get your impression of what you heard so far. You said you got about halfway through.
Yeah, so I don't typically listen to Joe Rogan. I don't
Right.
typically listen to Kanye, but I knew we were talking about it, so I wanted to, ish what was going on. I didn't want to, come to a show and not,
Right.
watch the thing we're going to
you didn't want to be like Baker.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I got you.
In so many
I got
words.
you. That makes sense.
Our guest is more prepared
Yeah.
than our co-host, so if
But
that's not the epitome of this show, I don't know what is.
the worst part about the whole interview was, there were a couple of moments where I was like, fuck, dude. Don't want to vote for Kanye West? Like, a little bit. Like, at a couple of moments, they were like, fuck, I kind of do. A little bit.
I feel the exact opposite because
All I will say is just, not this year?
right, the man is clearly psychotic. Not really.
According to Kanye.
Yeah, not really. I mean, he had like I could see what he was trying to say. You know what I mean? I saw his points and all that, but he just went off on tangents and
He loses the details.
That sounds like a typical
Yeah.
Kanye.
He's got no details. He'll be talking about this great idea, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. How are you going to do that, Kanye? He's like, by telling you about something completely
Right.
different.
Right. Well, by the grace of God. And
By the grace of God.
I don't know how many times he said God or referenced his religion.
Well, dude, just from what I was reading, he referenced everything to God now. And
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my gosh, dude. I understand people believing and all of that stuff, but
He's
there's-
starting a church
Yeah, that's just
/
kind of-
monastery
Yep.
/ school.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure. I was having trouble following if they were the same thing or if they were all different things.
All different
Right.
things.
He's also starting a new NASA.
Yes, a new NASA.
A new NASA.
And he said,
No offense to the old
yeah,
NASA.
Right. No
Right,
offense to the old
right.
NASA, but we need a better NASA.
Oh, what in
Oh,
the
Oh
world?
man, it was interesting.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I wish you would have seen it. I don't know the proper way to say it.
Seen it.
Seen it. Okay. Well, I'm
There
from
wasn't.
Belleville.
I mean, you
so.
didn't have to watch. I listened to it.
Well, yeah,
Right.
whatever. But
so-
I'm gonna need you to listen to a little bit of it.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Over the next couple of days.
I'll try.
Yeah, I can't remember most of it. I think it's just I'm not on Kanye's level.
Yeah, I mean nobody is.
No, it's hard to be on his level.
Yeah. So what I did about an hour in, I started taking notes
Really?
of the shit that Kanye said.
Okay.
Now again, this was about an hour in because I was like, he's been saying a lot of wild shit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And meanwhile, every once in a while, Joe will go, "Really?"
yeah, yeah. I just loved the cuts to
dude.
Joe, and he's like,
So there was one where he's talking about how Bruce Lee and his brother were killed by the Chinese triad, and Joe's like, "No."
right, right.
No.
That's not what happened.
He's like, "Well, some people think that they were," and Joe's like, "Well, yeah, it's a conspiracy that this, that,
Right.
and the other, but how they actually died was
right.
okay. Let's talk about something else."
Let's move on.
Yeah, he was all over the place. So I want to read a couple quotes, and I know Justin's going to recognize these. He's obviously seen it all. Some of these might be news to you if you haven't listened to the whole thing yet, and it's all going to be news to you.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear your reactions about what was said. So these are in order because I just took them, took notes as we went. The first thing that I was like, I need to take some fucking notes is he said, I'm like Deadpool for God.
Oh yeah.
So this is what got you to start taking notes?
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
Fuck,
oh,
what was
wow.
he
He was
hard
talking
to
about
even
like,
reference.
For God.
he was talking, I don't even know exactly what he was talking about, but it was something about being above everything. You can't kill me, you can't hurt me because of God and all this. And take away all the pain.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm basically like Deadpool. He's like, for God. Like, yeah.
It sounds like Kanye.
So that was a Kanye one. This next one is even more of the epitome of Kanye.
Okay.
You ready? I'm the human version of Instagram.
I think that was around the time that he said he had to get an injection in his thumb because he hurt his thumb texting.
Yeah, because he was texting too much.
Because he was texting like carpal tunnel
Yeah.
almost.
I don't know, but Joe was like, "You texted so much you hurt your thumb." He's like, "Yeah, I text a lot."
Yeah, it takes a lot.
Hell
He said, I think he said, I got a lot of friends. I think that's what he said.
hell
Oh
yeah.
my god.
I think he said hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The next one, he said, basically, Joe was talking about like, you know, and you're preaching all this like, you know, because God's telling you to, or something along the lines. And he said, it's coming from God, and I'm used as a channel. So what he means is he's a prophet. That's what he's saying.
That's exactly what he's saying.
That's the definition of a prophet.
He says that, like, he says a lot of that shit. Like, I feel like any vision, like he'll be like, I'm a visionary.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But he did call himself a visionary a couple times, but then also Joe called him a visionary once, and he's like, that's kind of a strong word. But then later he kept calling himself a visionary.
I will say, dude, he got into like some point where he's talking about like how he doesn't have an ego, or like how God gave him this ego to use for like a certain purpose, and like I don't know, like Joe was like, I won't say it was bad, like he was talking to him well, and it was like talking to him in a way that trying to get him to expand on like all
Right.
these different.
Joe was
ideas.
trying.
I thought he was a good interviewer.
He did what he
But-
could. He did what he could.
Like there would just be 30 minutes straight of just like Kanye just going.
Dude, for real.
He's one of those that
go.
like he's hard to stop talking though,
Yeah.
and he'll run around in circles. Like that sounds like I haven't seen this or heard the
Yeah.
podcast, but that sounds exactly like Kanye in any type of situation or interview
Basically,
or anything.
like-
Like he just wants to hear himself talk.
Pushing how he needs to be the leader of the free world.
Yeah.
Yep. There's
Crazy.
actually a quote about that, and I'll skip to it. Where'd it go? So I'll skip to it now, which it came later in the episode. This is a 3-hour long episode, by the
see,
way.
if I heard it, he said it a lot of times then.
Right, because you only listen to like
He
the
said
first
it
half.
over and over.
So Joe asked him about like people voting for him and like, you know, being the actual, you know, leader of the free world and like whatever. And he got to a point where he said, it's technically possible for me to win now, and it'd be the best thing for America.
It's not possible, Kanye.
Yeah,
Like-
he's
Definitely
like,
not possible.
he's like, I'm on the ballot in like 12 states, and if just everybody voted in all 12,
all 12 states.
Like that's the thing. I can see Kanye West becoming the president. Like in my mind's eye, it's
If-
like not this year.
right.
But like someday,
man.
like if somebody said Kanye West is president in 2020, I'd be like, yeah, that fits.
so
I mean, I could see it down the road.
I
Right?
did say he's the music version of Trump because they talk exactly the same.
Well, then I mean, you got to get down into like the nitty gritty of it. If like there's the conspiracy is like, is Kanye doing this for Trump
Right.
to split a vote to like get black voters to like vote for him?
Well,
Like,
he actually talked about that too in the
I
episode.
didn't get
yeah,
to there.
it's and he responded with a lot of craziness that wasn't noteworthy.
I'm glad you asked. Let me
Right.
tell you about my church.
Right.
Man.
The next thing he said, he was basically talking about how he tries to think on a bigger scale and things like that, and tries not to worry about like the little stuff. And he's talking about his music at this point. He said, I was gonna buy my masters, like the final copies of his music,
Yeah.
but I realized that's too small of a thought. I'm gonna buy Universal. They're only a $33 billion organization. But he also talked about multiple times that he's in debt by $50 million.
Yeah.
See, that's the
But
thing.
how
like,
he's going to
when-
get the world out of debt.
Right.
Oh, dude, I'm glad you said that.
Oh, God.
Because according to Kanye, he's like, I looked into it. The world's got so much debt that we can't even afford to buy the world.
Right. Yep.
And so I thought about it, and I thought, how much is the world even worth?
Yep. That's a real thing Kanye said.
That's almost verbatim.
Oh, yeah. Pretty much exactly what he
Wow.
said.
That's insane.
He also said, I'm existing in the future, but I'm living in the now.
we're 20 years past the future. The future was 2000. We're in 2020. We're in the future. Again, almost exact quote.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I
dude.
mean,
Yeah, this sounds exactly like Kanye.
so me and Steve, we watched it, and within 45 minutes, we were like looking at each other like this isn't even like funny anymore. Like at first, it was like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then it just kept going, and we stopped it or like checked the time on it like 3 different times. We're like, how much longer does this have?
How much more torture do I have to
Yeah,
go
because
through?
we committed to watching the full 3 hours, dude, and it felt like 5.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. And what irritates me, dude, is like I'm thinking back to like Kanye's old records and stuff, like the College Dropout and Late Registration and stuff like that. And dude, those albums were fire.
Right.
Like when he first came out and then it just what the hell happened?
Dropped off.
I mean, that's the thing, though. He still makes good music, probably.
mean,
I'll be honest. I don't listen.
Not anymore.
I'm not a big
Really?
like any of
He's
his
still got a
stuff.
following, though.
Like he still
yeah.
makes the music, but it's definitely not like it used to be. Like
He
his
made a
first
whole
2
gospel
albums,
album.
His first 2 albums were fire.
Kind of said something about.
Right.
And then everything else after that just kind of started falling down.
But that's why I commented on your Facebook post
Yeah.
what I did, because I was like, "That's 3 hours of Kanye."
Right. Okay, I got you.
Oh
yeah.
God,
Yeah.
It's a lot of
It was wild, and like
I put myself through that
yeah.
for you.
Thank you. I've never been a big fan of Kanye either, but that's because I found out about him being a douche before I listened to his music.
Oh, okay.
So I was just like, he's a douche to me.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's shown it on multiple occasions.
Right.
Hell yeah, yeah.
My favorite was he was like, sometimes you just got to snatch the microphone away from people that are spouting lies.
Right. Yeah. He was actually talking about his dad at that point, and he's like, oh,
Referencing
like,
Taylor
I thought he
Swift
was
as well.
That's what I was saying.
But
I
yeah,
thought
he
no,
was
he
just
said
reminiscing
something
on
where he's
Taylor
like, he
Swift.
was like, as some of you have seen.
right. Yeah. He
Right,
said something
like-
like father, like son, or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't even remember.
Which,
And I
by
think-
the way,
I
that
think-
did take balls though for him to do what he did.
True. But I think he also said something about like how his dad being a Black Panther and now how Black Panther is like about being Disney and how Disney is controlled by
Yeah.
like the white image.
Yeah. There was a
It
lot
was-
going on.
It was a lot. going
He
on.
also said, I don't wear white anymore.
At all.
Yeah. Which
I
was
can get to
just
that.
like wild to me. He's like, nope, I don't. But then actually, now that I think about it, he took off his white shoe. He was wearing 2 pure white shoes.
But he doesn't wear white anymore.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's
I didn't even
Kanye.
think of that.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's Kanye.
He also said, my masseuse said I need to drink more water.
Probably
Just
right.
Thank you for that.
interesting, out of nowhere, basically.
Fun fact about Kanye.
Right. And then, so towards the end, about the 2.5 hour mark, there was about a half hour left, and Kanye just started to like shut down. I tweeted, I said, there's a glitch in Kanye. Like
There's
like,
a glitch in
like
Kanye.
something happened. Because he's just sitting there like straight face and just like shut down.
I need to pray.
What's that?
I need to pray.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was-
He said I need to pray. And that's actually one thing that I had written down here. Joe asked him a question. I forget what the question was. And he literally paused for like, I would say realistically 20 seconds, which is a long time.
Yeah, like when you're on the air and stuff.
Yeah. And
It's a hell
Joe
of a long
just
time.
Joe just stared at him, just like waiting for his answer.
Which makes it even longer
Yeah.
when somebody's staring at you.
It was
Dude.
about 20 seconds, and Kanye is just zoned out, looking at nothing, like looking down. And then he comes back in.
God
he said,
was speaking to him.
he just said, I just said a prayer in this situation. And he's like, okay, well,
Ladies and gentlemen, the next president of our
Right,
United States.
right.
dude, yeah. So it was wild. I don't even. Those are all the notes I had on it. But
That's
like,
crazy.
yeah, I don't even know. I mean, it was exactly what we expected.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what we expected of a 3-hour Kanye episode.
But I don't know. I mean, some of it's got to be an act. Like, at a certain point, he's got to be lying to himself or lying to
Oh,
the
dude,
people
I
he
don't
around
knows
know.
him.
lied to him. Dude,
Like-
it's not
like,
an act though. Like that's
it's not
Kanye.
fully. He's definitely got some kind of like bipolar or something or other, or
Well, yeah.
something like.
Well, he, from what I was reading, again, I didn't see this yet, but it seemed like he talked about bipolar
He
a
did.
little bit.
He
But then
talked about
seeing
it,
how,
and, like-
talking about like how everybody's being affected by it in America, even as
Yeah.
children, and
he talked a little bit more so about it, and like how when he said something on like MTV or some show,
Mhm.
and that was when they like turned around. I think he said something like slavery was a choice, and like how it got taken out of context and how it was like at that moment that like people were trying to push him into like mental health stuff, and he started taking pills and stuff that like started taking away from his creativity. So like you got to wonder as well, like him as a person just in general, like imagine being suppressed by like those drugs that like, even if bipolar is like a strong high, strong low, like
Right.
he still makes good music. It's where creativity comes
but
from.
if this is the mild version of Kanye, like if this is the
I don't think
drugged
he's
up
taking
version,
those drugs now.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, there's definitely something going on.
I mean, talking to God, that's like bipolar definition.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Yeah, he did say multiple times that God literally called him, and he said literally called him. Like God literally called me. He said literally and called me.
God gave me a fake number.
He didn't say
Right.
God. Yeah, he didn't say God talked to me.
God called me.
He said God literally called me.
What do you think he has God's picture saved as in his phone?
Yeah, what's his? I don't know.
I bet it's a picture of himself.
Oh my God.
I bet you it's the emoji.
Yep.
It's got to be
Prayer
the praying
hands.
emoji.
Prayer hands. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say on the topic. I just wanted to bring it up because it's obviously big news, craziness. I'm sure, Steve even said yesterday, not this Steve Hardy, said basically, I'm excited to see the memes that come out of this.
Right.
Which I actually haven't seen any yet.
Not yet.
I haven't seen any yet, which is
It's
surprising.
a lot to
Well,
filter
it's
through.
a 3-hour podcast, so you got to think about it. You know,
there's a
somebody's
lot
not
of
just going to
things,
make
like-
a 2-second meme.
Yeah,
maybe,
they are.
Maybe that's
They're gonna
Kanye's
take the internet.
strategy.
That's the internet.
They got to see where they're going to pick.
You're barely on the internet. You don't get to. You don't.
Yeah, I
There
guess that's
wasn't
why
a
I
lot.
didn't even know.
I think
about
it's
that.
because it came out on a Saturday. Everybody's memeing on
Maybe
Monday
they're-
through Friday when they're bored at work.
Maybe that's what it is.
Everybody's
Yeah.
memeing.
Yeah, memeing.
Maybe that's Kanye's strategy is to just like go in so many different directions that people are like, fuck, we don't even know what's gonna stick.
Right. True that.
What's your last thoughts on Kanye?
What about the last part when he talked about his whole government thing and how he feels the whole world?
Dude, I don't even. I think I checked out at that point.
Did he
I
say
don't-
Illuminati?
I mean, no.
No.
I don't think he did.
That part of it after he had to pray
Yeah.
made sense.
Dude,
I
that was
mean-
the scary part of some
That
of the
was the
interviews.
scariest
where he
part.
would be
Like, I
talking
get what
about
he's
like
saying.
how we got to deconstruct some of these ideas in our society, and I'm like, yeah,
I was like, holy
Go-
shit,
go more
Kanye
into
just
that.
makes sense.
like
Right, he
go
wouldn't.
go into detail. Like, what do you mean,
Right.
Kanye?
That's
Yeah.
the
And
problem.
he's like, I'm a revolutionary.
Right. Right.
All right.
Yeah, that's the problem. He never went into detail about anything.
Fair.
He had a lot of good overall ideas, but
I think the people that need to will actually take some of his ideas and use them.
I
Right?
mean, maybe.
Like, hopefully he's just paying some of these people like a fuck ton of money, and he's just like, go fix this shit.
I
Like,
think that's what
I
he's
hope
doing,
Kanye's
Yep.
which
doing.
is fine.
Yeah, but how's he going to pay
I can
that
get
money
behind.
with that much
Yeah.
in debt?
I don't know.